Hey guys, it's TheGameFaceHD and welcome back to episode 1 of my Manchester City career mode. And today I'm going to give it a go with yet again another career mode. And as you can see, I first of all from the catalogue buy a sort of scout new young talent thing from the catalogue, which basically means I find a young new star that's really good. But today I'm going to be bringing you guys a Manchester City career mode. And yeah, it's been a long time really since I've started a career mode series. I know I start them it feels like so many times, but in actual fact, I don't really do enough of them, I don't think. I've had a few people calling for them in the last week or two, so I thought I'll start a new one. I'll start with a team that I really want to play with all the time, and I actually went with Manchester City in the end. Now you can see here we have got the draw, which I redrew it because we were actually in it in the first place, and we got quite a good group, so I kept it at that. And pretty much I did exactly everything I was really wanting to try and do. You'll see that I made my manager guy be called Manuel Pellegrini, obviously to fit in with the fact that I was at Manchester City. And I was hoping I could try and keep this career mode for quite a while, hopefully. But what I was going to do is try to sign some rumoured players for Manchester City that are obviously being rumoured this summer to join. And I'll read out a few of the names which I've seen on various sites that are rumoured to join. However, I won't just be buying rumoured players, I'll be buying some players I want to bring in as well. So rumoured players include Di Maria, Fernando, Mangala, Sanya, Benyetia, Pepe, and a guy called Dele Alli, who is a very young player. I think he's about 54 overall, so I probably won't be bringing him in. But there was a few little rumours there that I was tempted to bring in. But you'll see during this episode that I have quite a few signings to actually be made. I think it's at least 5. I can't remember the exact amount. But I do make a number of signings here. I was just sorting out my team, deciding what formation to use. I decided to go with a 4-2-2-2 formation, which basically meant I had the 2 CDMs and the 2 centre attacking mids. Obviously having Yaya Toure and Fernandinho, and then David Silva and Nasri playing the centre attacking mids. So I got everything set up, I got the scouts done, I sent some scouts out. You can see that I had instructions. I thought I would skip past this bit. Basically I was looking for a left back in my scouting search. And I went through all the players. Again, I thought I would just quickly fly through this, so I sped up this bit. And I went through all the players in the Manchester City team and decided which ones I wanted to get rid of and which ones I wanted to send out on loan because they were young or something like that. So Mika Richards I transfer listed, and a few others I put up for loan for the whole season. And that was because we have 40 out of 42 players in the squad, so we only have 2 spaces, and if I was going to make, say, 5 signings, I was going to have to get rid of a few as well to be able to bring some in on top of that. So I was a bit concerned about that and was hoping that I could try and get rid of a few players. But you can see I do start to type Di Maria, as that is one of the rumoured players, and realised I spelt it the surname wrong, so I just went with Maria, eventually got it right, and I decided to put in a bid. Which I couldn't really decide what to do because it said something like 38.7 million to 40 odd million, which I thought was a lot for Di Maria. I wasn't really expecting that. I know Man.City don't really play with right mids unless obviously they use Jesus Navas. I was looking for Navas here as to do like a part sort of trade offer with him, but unfortunately I wasn't able to trade. Jesus Navas for Di Maria, so I had to try and pick somebody else. I picked James Milner. I decided on about 30 million, just as kind of like the starting offer. If I was to get Di Maria, I would put him in right centre attacking mid or right attacking midfielder, just because, you know, I'm not going to play with right mids, but I thought it would be a very good player in that position anyway. But I was going to move on to another player which has been heavily rumoured from Manchester City, and that was Fernando, who very nearly joined along with Mangala in the January transfer window at the start of the year. But the talk broke down, and I think he's probably going to be signing this summer along with Mangala again. And yeah, so I thought I'd go in and try and sign him. I was a bit unsure as to how much I should pay for him because his price obviously didn't appear because for some reason, I don't know why they didn't have the overall of this guy. I thought he was fairly well known. But I put in an 8 million bid just because I was kind of guessing. I thought he was around that region because he'll be about 79 overall, I thought. And then I went for Mangala as well. So this was 3 bids in a row pretty much I was going with. And I was going to try and see how much I could get him for. And eventually it did come up on the search. And there he is. So he's 22 years old. He looks very good, and it'll be a great partnership there with Vincent Company if I was to get him, and if they were to let me have him. So again, I launched a bid for this guy, and you'll see that I again can't really decide how much to put in. I put 8 million in as a sort of a starting price, not really expecting too much, but I thought I may as well go with that anyway, and we'll see what happens there. So again, I went back into the transfer market and looked for Sanya. Now the reason why I went for him is for cover for Zabaleta, and I'm getting rid of Mika Richards because I won't really be using him, I don't think. And the Manchester City are really heavily rumoured to get this guy as well, just because he's out of contract at Arsenal at the moment, so he's very heavily rumoured to go to Manchester City. Now I didn't want to pay too much for this guy, because I did obviously know that he would be a few million, but I was hoping to maybe only spend 2 to 3 million ideally. Now his value is 4.2, but I was hoping to try and get him a bit cheaper, so I put in a little bid for 2.8 million and submitted that to Arsenal Football Club. Now you'll see here that it was unacceptable, apparently, the offer for Fernandinho. They wanted 9.5 million for him, so an extra 1.5 million. Submitted that offer straight away because I thought it was not too bad. And then Di Maria, well, Real Madrid weren't interested in the player at all, and the cash wasn't enough itself. So I thought, well, do I have anybody else to give them? I thought about it, and I thought I don't really have anybody else to give, because the rest of the team are either starting 11 or just not worth enough to be able to be given. So I just thought, do you know what? Get rid of Milner. Let's give him some money. So I thought I would up the money to 38 million, and then realised, well, should I give him a couple of £100,000 extra on top of that? Decided to go with 38.9 million, and then eventually I decided to submit the offer. Just because I was a bit unsure again whether that'd be too much. I mean, that seemed a lot to pay for Di Maria, but at the end of the day, he will be a very good player, and he will probably grow to about 88 overall, hopefully, if not slightly more. But you can see here I accept the loan offer for this player I've never heard of, and he moves to, I think it was Rotherham Town, I can't quite remember. And then you see Arsenal didn't want to let him go for that amount. I had to pay 4.5 million for him just for cover for Zabaleta, which was pretty unbelievable. But I went with 4.4 just to kind of undercut what they were asking for. And then they wouldn't let him go. I was getting a bit worried with him. I really wanted him because obviously that's where Man City really need to strengthen in the summer. So I decided, you know what? Let's launch a bigger offer. 10 million went in there. And then again I had a quick look. Who should I give? Should I give anybody at all? Can I give anybody? And you can see here that I decided to go with Javier Garcia for a bit, and then again I couldn't make up my mind whether to go with him. I was a bit undecisive at this point, but I decided to go with 9.5 million and Javier Garcia to go with that, and hopefully they will accept that offer. Now if I continue to simulate through this, you'll see that they do accept the offer, and we go into contract talks basically, and it's 70 grand and a 2-year contract he wanted to sign, and I submitted the offer. Porto again rejecting that because they are not interested in the player, and the cash amount was not enough on its own. So get rid of Javier Garcia was the aim, and thinking about putting James Milner there instead of having Javier Garcia. 8.5 million and James Milner was going in there. Real Madrid accepted the offer. We went into contract talks again, and just gave him 130 grand. Hoped that he would come to the football club. And also, I've got something else to say. I did search for the left backs as well. I was searching for left backs and deciding which ones to go with. I looked at Flanagan, Santon, Butner, and a few others. I did actually put a bid in for Luke Shaw, which you'll see further on in the video. So just to let you know, that will be happening as well. Man City aren't necessarily rumoured to get him, it's more Man United, but I thought we also need a new young left back as well. So we have got an offer there for Boyata, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and Vincent Kompany, which obviously I reject. I accepted the previous offer, and Manchester United wanted to buy him for 21.5 million, so quite a lot of money there. Sanya, I accepted that one. And then I had a bit of a problem here after I'd accepted the Fernando one. I then didn't have enough money to accept Di Maria afterwards, which was slightly annoying. So I stalled it, confirmed it, and then had to go through the whole thing again. Realised that I didn't have enough players, or I had too many players in my club, so I had to get rid of one of them. And then eventually I got to this point where I could accept it, and he was in the team. So finally, we have Di Maria, we have Fernando, and we have Sanya. Fantastic players, really, in the club. Really, really happy with some of them signings. And now to top things off, I was hopefully going to be getting Mangala, which would be absolutely fantastic on a 4-year contract, crucial first-team player. And I was really hoping that I could try and get him. So that would really be absolutely fantastic. The main player, really, for me to get is Mangala and Di Maria, the main two players. So again, I thought I'd have a quick look at my team, decide what I wanted to do, but first I was to sim it a bit further and see whether I was to get the centre back. I did get the centre back, so James Milner was out and 8.5 million left with it. So that is my new arrival, and we have another transfer offer, this time for Edin Dzeko. We really had loads of transfer offers coming in for various different players, and you'll see later on in the episode that actually Aguero has a few different offers actually coming in for him. Luke Shaw appears on my scout search, so does Ryan Bertrand and a few others as well. And in the end I do decide to put in a bid for Luke Shaw, which you might not see actually, I don't think at this point, you don't. But I put in a bit of a bid for him, you'll see that soon, the bid and things like that I got. But that is pretty much it. I did decide to actually set up a scouting network for my youth academy thing, which I've never quite understood, but I sent out a scout for 6 months, so we'll find out hopefully in a few episodes time exactly how the scout is done out in Spain. And that is pretty much it. I mean, I've got obviously the team to show you and a few other things, but that is the team I've gone with. I only quickly showed it to you then, but pretty much Di Maria's gone right centre attacking mid, and then I've added in the players you would expect. And then I had to look through the rest of my emails which I've been getting, and I got a transfer offer for Aguero. Now I was tempted because it said you might want to send them back a counter offer for 62 million. I was very tempted. Realised though that no, I want to try and keep hold of Aguero for another few seasons. And then these updates from Spain and Italy I didn't really look at. I never really do unless I want to. But that was pretty much it for the first half of it. But Luke Shaw, it came back and they accepted the offer. It was something like 7 million and Kolarov, which I'd put the offer in. And we went straight to contract talks, which pretty incredible, really. I wasn't quite expecting that. 7 million was a lot to pay, but I thought, it's worth it because he's such a young player. And then Arsenal came back with Vermaelen, who I'd inquired about, and they wanted 5 million for him. Now, I thought it was a fantastic price, really, for Vermaelen, 5 million. It was quite a decent price. But the issue was we didn't have anybody to give, and we had very little money, which is very strange, obviously, for Manchester City to have a little money. But unfortunately, I'd used my transfer takeover things, which I wasn't going to use anyway, to be honest. I don't really believe in that for career modes. I don't mind doing the scouting thing like I did in this one. But you can see here we have got Luke Shaw. He has joined Manchester City, and we've got yet again another arrival. I believe that is all the arrivals in this episode. We did have quite a few. I think it was 5. I think I was right in saying that. Luke Shaw now starts for Man City, and we now put Clichy, I think, on the bench or in the reserves. So I was very happy with that. Everything went really well with the transfers. I had no issues. I had no problems of them not wanting to let go of various players. And I couldn't decide whether to go with Fernandinho or Fernando. In the end, I did decide to just keep with Fernandinho, as he was a better overall, and I felt Fernando maybe didn't quite have as good stats as Fernandinho does. But we need player like Fernando to fill in whenever Yaya Toure or Fernandinho gets injured, just because Fernando's a fantastic player anyway, really, 79 overall. I couldn't really rely on Javier Garcia. I didn't feel he had enough pace or anything like that. But again, I had a few offers for Aguero, which I was tempted by Bayern Munich and Dortmund, and I had Madrid earlier on, and I just basically rejected them all because they weren't quite as much as I would like. You know, if Bayern had put a £41 million bid in for Aguero, and I put a £38 million bid in for Di Maria, you know, it's quite a big difference in players that you're actually getting. But that is it, guys. That is pretty much it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. And Jack Rodwell will be leaving shortly, I'd imagine, as well. I'll put him on the transfer list just before then. And that is it, guys. Thank you, like I say, very much for watching. Episode 2 will be out, hopefully, shortly. Can you try and get behind this series? That'd be really appreciated. None of my career modes have so far seemed to kick off particularly well. So it'd be great if you guys could help me out by dropping a like and commenting and subscribing if you're new to the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.